Well, I didn't believe it in the first place. I thought, why would he suddenly be all cosy and nice and want to come? And why would Meghan speak to King Charles if she hates the monarchy so much?
Fairy tales don't start with backup plans. True love stories don't come with plan B.
I think that you can't actually continue to do that.
And yet, Meghan Markle's name is now tangled in a claim that does just that. A claim that says Harry wasn't the first choice.
Meghan wouldn't be known for anything if she hadn't actually married Harry and been in the royal family.
That maybe, just maybe, William was. This isn't a tabloid whisper. It's coming from biographer Angela Levin, who's been plugged into palace circles for decades.
But there's something compelling about hearing all this nastiness.
She told interviewers she's heard from staffers and aides who insist Meghan's early moves inside royal spaces weren't directed toward Harry at all. According to these accounts, she was laser-focused on William. Not romantically, but strategically.
You can't believe the lies he's telling.
Calculated warmth, positioned charm, a subtle game of proximity to the heir, not the spare. And while Harry would eventually become her husband, these insiders claim William was the one she maneuvered around first.
I think it was either a ploy set up so they can be nice and then whack them a week or so later. You know, there are people who do that.
That revelation alone flips the Sussex fairy tale on its head and raises the question, what if the love story the world bought was never the original script? The claim hits like a thunderclap because of how perfectly it fits into the larger royal narrative.
You know, you just want to know, you want to hear about it, you can't believe it.
Think back to Meghan's earliest public moments with Kate and William. Royal watchers at charity events noticed small gestures. Meghan moving closer to William after handshakes, mimicking Kate's placement beside him, even glances caught on camera that critics now describe as studied. Harry, in one moment, was seen placing his hand on Meghan's back as if to steady her, a subtle reminder to keep focus. Reports suggest William remained polite but distant, never giving her more than the bare minimum. And Kate? Sources insist she spotted the vibe instantly. Far from being standoffish for no reason, she was simply guarding her territory. That's a chilling reinterpretation of years of icy glances and cold sister-in-law headlines. If you buy Levin's version, the frost wasn't cultural clash, it was defense. And this is where the contradiction really cuts deep.
What's really extraordinary is the Americans don't want any royal family telling them what to do at the, at all. They're not
even how to make bath bombs. I'm obsessed
even
with
how,
the bath bombs.
but certainly not politically. They don't want, Meghan's very political and they don't want that.
Meghan has built her empire on authenticity. The Netflix specials, the Oprah interview, the multi-million-dollar speaking gigs, they all sell the same narrative. This was the romance of destiny, a love that beat the odds. But if Harry was never the first target, then that entire foundation starts to wobble. Suddenly, the polished interviews feel like strategy. Suddenly, the memoirs read like PR. Suddenly, the fairy tale looks like a backup plan. And viewers don't need proof beyond a reasonable doubt to feel betrayed. They just need to believe the perception. Because in the world of celebrity branding, once that perception cracks, the whole empire starts to collapse.
You know, her wedding was £132 million, no gratitude. And the whole thing was to destroy them and to, get rid of them so they could come and present a more woke, upward market couple. But they made a big mistake.
Angela Levin may have dropped the claim, but it's the silence from Meghan's camp that's making it echo. Normally, a denial or a legal pushback would come within hours. This time, nothing, and sometimes silence speaks louder than any press release. If Meghan thought silence would make this story fade, she miscalculated, because the public reaction hasn't been quiet at all. Within hours of Angela Levin's comments, social media was flooded with clips and memes. One viral TikTok stitched together side-eye moments between Kate and Meghan with captions like, "She knew all along." On Twitter, fans dug up footage of Meghan standing a little too close to William at charity appearances, replayed frame by frame like courtroom evidence. Commentators speculated that what once looked like innocent body language suddenly felt loaded, and in the age of digital archives, nothing stays buried. Every clip, every gesture, every look has been pulled back into the spotlight. The public's fascination isn't just about Meghan's alleged strategy. It's about what it says for Harry. If he wasn't her first choice, what does that make him now? A husband? A partner? Or, as some fans cruelly tweeted, the convenient spare?
Have done is learnt this is what Harry does now. He doesn't just attack them once, he just goes on and on and on, with Netflix, with Oprah Winfrey the first, and then moaning to everybody who he comes to. And I feel very strongly that he would have known what would be in this book. And he's done absolutely nothing about it.
That phrase trended briefly, with thousands debating whether the Sussexes' romance was love or leverage. Some supporters tried to defend Meghan, arguing that Angela Levin has long been critical of her and that these claims reek of bias. But even sympathetic voices admitted the optics weren't good. When your brand is built on authenticity, even the perception of calculation can sting. And the pressure wasn't just coming from fans. Industry insiders quickly jumped on the story. One royal commentator on GB News speculated that if the William claim gains traction, it could damage Harry and Meghan's lucrative speaking contracts. Corporations don't pay millions for scandal fatigue, the commentator warned. Reports suggested Hollywood agents were already watching the backlash closely, mindful of how quickly public opinion can shift. Remember, this is the same couple that secured a $100 million Netflix deal and multi-million-dollar book contracts on the strength of their love story. If audiences start doubting that story, those investments start to look shaky. It's not just gossip anymore, it's dollars and cents. Meanwhile, the royals themselves haven't said a word. No official palace response, no insider leaks from William or Kate's camp, just silence. And that silence is its own strategy.
Prince Harry is even more annoying than he is when he's with his wife.
Well, he's probably been instructed by his wife, but I'm quite surprised why. Well, I am and I'm not, actually, why she didn't come over, because it's obviously stressful.
Yeah.
He's obviously unable to cope with questions, or he has not done his research properly and he's sitting for an exam type of thing.
Yes.
Suddenly realise, help, I haven't looked up anything.
By staying quiet, the Crown lets public opinion do the heavy lifting. Royal fans have taken that as a cue, framing the Sussex drama as proof of why the institution endures. One viral meme showed Kate at a royal engagement with the caption, "Ice Queen?" or just Queen. The implication was clear. While Meghan's brand looked increasingly unstable, Kate's composure made her look stronger than ever. And here's the kicker. Reports suggested Harry himself has been making quiet trips to London in recent months, reportedly seeking reconnection with his family. If those reports are true, this scandal couldn't have landed at a worse time. Because nothing undermines reconciliation like whispers that your wife once had her eyes on your brother. The whispers about William might have been enough on their own. But then came the next wave of revelations. The kind that hit like aftershocks.
To be able to spend some precious times with him as he slowly starts to grow up.
And I hear you're off to see two special people in a minute.
Yes.
The Queen and the Duke.
Yes, and we just bumped into the Duke as we were walking by, which was so nice. So it'll be a nice moment to introduce the baby to more family, and my mom's with us as well. So it's been a really, here we go.
Another great grandchild.
Angela Levin didn't just suggest Meghan's early moves targeted William. She claimed palace staff themselves noticed what they called strategic positioning. According to those insiders, Kate picked up on it early. At one charity event, Meghan shook hands with guests and then positioned herself directly beside William, mimicking Kate's natural spot at his side. Royal staff recalled Harry stepping in quickly, resting his hand on Meghan's back as if to signal, "Enough!" That single detail, attributed to multiple aides, has been replayed in commentary clips across YouTube. For critics, it wasn't just awkward, it was revealing. But the claims didn't stop with body language. Reports suggested Meghan's persistence stretched across several events. One source speculated that Kate, then pregnant, allegedly caught Meghan watching William just a little too intently. Commentators compared it to the infamous moment when Princess Diana was photographed glancing at Camilla during Charles's polo matches, a look that said volumes without a word. Only this time, the triangle wasn't about romance but ambition. Whether or not the intent was real, the perception now has its own life. And perception, in the world of royalty, often becomes the narrative.
They would argue that they were hounded out of this country, the press were very hostile. You and I are both being very hostile now. You could argue the press attention has made their life a misery. They're entitled to complain, and that actually it's affected their mental health.
No, that's nonsense. They wanted to leave. The Queen said you can go. They had everything they wanted. If you've got, you move on.
Then came the paperwork bombshell. For years, questions have lingered about Archie's birth certificate, especially the moment Meghan's full name was removed and replaced with Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. At the time, Meghan claimed the palace ordered the change. The palace countered, saying it wasn't their doing. That contradiction reopened like a wound as the William rumors spread. Fans online claimed the timing wasn't random, that Meghan had been rewriting not just her role in the family, but her public identity itself. And once the story of William as first target surfaced, every change, every omission, every altered detail looked more suspicious. Commentators speculated this pattern painted a larger picture. Meghan wasn't stumbling into scandals, she was navigating them with intent. From Hollywood connections to a carefully managed royal debut, each move looked like part of a longer strategy. Angela Levin's claims simply gave the puzzle its missing piece. If William was indeed the first focus, then Harry's whirlwind romance starts to look less like destiny and more like a pivot. That revelation cuts deeper than any tabloid headline because it reframes the entire Sussex story. And the silence continues. No denial, no pushback, just the quiet hum of unanswered questions.
Meghan, can you tell us what it's like becoming a new mum and tell us a little bit about baby Sussex, as we're calling him?
It's magic. It's pretty amazing, and I mean, I have the two best guys in the world, so I'm really happy.
For a couple known to respond fast and fierce, that absence feels louder by the day. Fans online have started asking, is Meghan refusing to dignify it, or is she afraid that denying it will only make the palace open the vault on even more receipts? This is where the story stops being about Meghan alone and turns into a direct attack on Harry's judgment. Because if Angela Levin's claims are even partially true, then Harry doesn't look like the bold prince who chose love over duty. He looks like the man who was never first choice, the spare in his own marriage. Commentators speculated this might explain why his decisions in recent years have seemed so extreme. Leaving the royal family, cutting ties with relatives, trashing them in interviews, what if it wasn't all conviction, but the fallout of being played? For a man who has built his global brand on authenticity, the idea that he was manipulated is devastating. And then came the palace's coldest move yet. Reports suggested Buckingham Palace had quietly slammed the brakes on royal privileges for Archie and Lilibet. According to multiple outlets, Charles was sticking to the 1917 letters patent, effectively stripping the Sussex children of royal titles and ensuring no HRH status would be passed down. The Crown didn't hold a press conference. They didn't rant in interviews. Instead, they moved through official channels, armed with documents described as final proof. For Meghan, that was brutal. The modern royal mom image she's cultivated suddenly looked hollow. No titles, no formal duties, no blurred lines, just silence from the palace, but an unmistakable message. The monarchy was done playing games. Public reaction hit a fever pitch. On TikTok, one creator racked up millions of views by overlaying footage of Meghan's Oprah interview with the headline, "From Future Queen to Plan B." Fans flooded comment sections with divided takes. Some argued the palace was punishing the children for their parents' choices. Others said this was the natural consequence of Meghan overplaying her hand. Even normally sympathetic voices in American media acknowledged the optics were disastrous. As one commentator put it, the Sussexes can spin many things, but how do you spin the palace shutting the door on your kids? And Meghan's silence, once viewed as dignity, was starting to feel like gasoline. No denial, no statement, not even a pointed social media post. Critics claimed it was a quiet admission. Loyal supporters said she was simply refusing to dignify gossip. But either way, the absence of a rebuttal let the narrative grow unchecked. For Harry, that meant every headline was another cut to his credibility. If he was still trying to rebuild ties with his family, this scandal was the last thing he needed. Because nothing undermines reconciliation like the possibility your wife once had her eyes on your brother. The Sussex fairy tale was built on one foundation: love against the odds. But with each revelation, each silent non-response, that foundation was starting to crack, and once a fairy tale crumbles, all that's left is the cold reality beneath. When the dust settles, the fallout isn't just about Meghan's ambition or William's composure, it's about what people believe Harry has become. Once seen as the most relatable royal, open, emotional, authentic, he now risks being cast as the man who gave up everything for a woman whose heart may never have been fully his. That narrative stings because it rewrites his entire journey. The prince who claimed he was breaking free from the monarchy's cold traditions starts to look like the spare who was used as a stepping stone. And for a man who has made vulnerability his brand, the idea that he was manipulated is more than embarrassing. It's existential. The public isn't just questioning Harry and Meghan's love story, they're questioning the entire Sussex project. Commentators compared it to the unraveling of celebrity empires before, from Brad and Angelina's divorce to the collapse of Gwyneth Paltrow's GOOP credibility when overexposure turned curiosity into skepticism. Once audiences feel tricked, the backlash doesn't fade, it compounds. Reports suggested corporate partners were already quietly reassessing. "Nobody wants to bankroll a fairy tale that looks fake," one industry source told the Daily Mail. If true, that could mean serious financial consequences. Multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix, Spotify, and publishers were built on one core narrative: the authenticity of Harry and Meghan's bond. Take that away, and what's left is just noise. Meanwhile, the palace's silence has proven its own kind of power. By not engaging directly, the royals allow perception to harden without ever lifting a finger. Fans online contrasted Meghan's glossy PR with Kate's steady composure during her cancer battle. One viral comment read, "One was playing chess with William. The other was building a family with him." It's a brutal comparison, but one that sums up why this scandal resonates so deeply. Meghan's story has always been about rewriting tradition. Kate's has always been about preserving it. And in times of crisis, preservation often wins. Culturally, the ripple effects are even bigger. This scandal feeds into a growing fatigue with celebrity PR in general. Viewers aren't just questioning Meghan's moves. They're questioning every highly packaged Hollywood authentic story. The backlash to Meghan could easily foreshadow how the public treats other celebrity couples who rely on polished narratives to sell their brands. Commentators warned, if the Sussex love story collapses, it will become the cautionary tale of the decade. And then comes the silence again. Meghan's camp hasn't denied it, Harry hasn't defended it, and in the absence of clarity, perception fills the gap. For the couple who sold their brand as real, silence may be the most dangerous move of all. So here's the question. If Meghan really did see William first, what does that make Harry now? A husband, a partner, or simply the backup plan that became the headline act? And if that's the truth behind the Sussex fairy tale, then what happens next could be even bigger. Don't miss it. Subscribe, hit like, and check out our next deep dive, because if this was Plan B, you'll want to see what Plan C looks like.